Pouring a $10 chemical engine flush into a high-mileage car is one of the fastest ways to destroy a $5,000 engine. Millions of drivers use these solvent cans expecting a spotless crankcase, completely unaware that they are triggering a dangerous chain reaction. Inside an older motor, dark sludgy deposits are often the only structural barrier holding critical fluid seals together. By the end of this breakdown, you will see the exact moment a quick flush starves an engine of oil and destroys its bearings. Before you ever pour a solvent into your filler cap, you need to understand the mechanical trap hidden inside your oil pan. A quick flush promises to scrub internal varnish in just 10 minutes, but it frequently releases dislodged debris into places it should never go. Later in this video, we will reveal the tiny metal mesh screen that routinely causes catastrophic engine lockups after a flush. We will also show you the safer, slow-cleaning alternative that professional engine builders rely on to avoid total mechanical failure. To understand the danger, we must first look at how engine sludge actually forms over thousands of miles. Every time fuel combusts inside a cylinder, microscopic amounts of blow-by gas squeeze past the piston rings into the crankcase. These gases contain unburnt hydrocarbons, soot, and moisture that contaminate the engine oil. Over time, heat degrades the additive package in your lubricant, turning liquid oil into a thick, tar-like gel that coats every internal component. Most commercial engine flushes rely on high-strength chemical solvents like petroleum distillates or aromatic hydrocarbons. When you pour these chemicals into your oil filler neck, they rapidly lower the viscosity of the existing motor oil. The solvent penetrates the hard varnish and carbon crust baked onto valve train components and cylinder head walls. In theory, this breaks down stubborn deposits so they drain out freely during a standard oil change. Visualizing the valve train of a 100,000-mile engine reveals thick layers of black sludge packed around the rocker arms and oil return galleys. This accumulation restricts the natural flow of oil back down to the pan, forcing liquid to pool in the cylinder head. While the engine runs, these deposits sit relatively stable, baked in place by thousands of heat cycles. They look unsightly, but they often allow the engine to maintain basic hydraulic pressure without immediate failure. When you start the engine with flush solvent circulating, a violent chemical breakdown begins within seconds. The harsh solvent rapidly strips away the lighter surface layers of carbon, converting solid grime into a slurry. However, it also attacks the structural integrity of larger, denser sludge pockets clinging to the crankcase walls. Instead of dissolving these massive deposits completely, the solvent detaches intact chunks from the metal surfaces, sending them tumbling into the circulating oil pool. The first major catastrophe involves old rubber front and rear main seals that have hardened over time. As engine seals age, heat causes the rubber compound to crack, shrink, and lose its elastic memory. Thick sludge deposits often fill those microscopic cracks and gaps, acting as a secondary physical seal that prevents oil leaks. When aggressive flush solvents strip that protective gunk away, the worn rubber beneath can no longer hold fluid pressure. Within miles of draining the flush chemical and refilling with fresh oil, severe external oil leaks suddenly appear across the lower block. You will notice oil pouring from the timing cover seal, oil pan gasket, and main seals onto your driveway. The owner assumes the flush created a new hole, but the solvent simply exposed pre-existing mechanical damage that sludge was hiding. Replacing these newly leaking gaskets often requires dropping the subframe or pulling the entire transmission. The second and far more lethal consequence occurs deep inside the oil pan at the bottom of the engine block. As the solvent breaks down large sludge formations, dense carbon flakes sink directly toward the oil sump. These hard debris fragments accumulate around the base of the oil pickup tube while the oil pump pulls fluid upward. Instead of draining cleanly out of the plug hole, the loosened sludge forms a thick carpet over the suction inlet. At the end of the oil pickup tube sits a fine steel mesh screen designed to catch stray debris before it enters the oil pump. This screen has tiny openings measuring roughly 1 mm across to protect delicate pump tolerances. When a chemical flush releases thousands of softened carbon flakes at once, suction draws them tight against this delicate wire mesh. Within minutes of idling, the screen becomes completely blinded by a solid wall of black sludge. As the pickup screen chokes off, the engine's oil pump begins cavitation, pulling vacuum instead of pressurized fluid. On your dashboard, the oil pressure warning light flickers on as pressure plummets from 40 pounds per square inch to 0. Without oil pressure, the mechanical pump can no longer push lubricant through the narrow oil passages leading to the crankshaft. The upper engine and lower journal bearings are suddenly left running dry under high heat and heavy load. Engine crankshafts rely on hydrodynamic lubrication, floating on a thin film of pressurized oil smaller than the width of a human hair. When that oil film collapses due to a blocked pickup tube, metal components make direct contact. Microscopic peaks on the steel crankshaft journal scrub forcefully against the softer aluminum lead alloy of the rod bearing inserts. The resulting friction instantly generates extreme localized temperatures exceeding 800 degrees Fahrenheit. Extreme thermal expansion causes the bearing shells to expand rapidly and bind against the spinning crankshaft journal. The immense rotational torque tears the bearing locking tabs free, spinning the bearing insert inside the connecting rod bore. This mechanical nightmare produces the unmistakable, violent metallic knocking sound known as a spun rod bearing. At this stage, total engine destruction occurs in under 30 seconds, leaving you with a ruined engine block. Chemical solvents present another hidden risk even if large sludge chunks do not block the oil pickup screen. Solvents drastically thin the existing engine oil, severely cutting its shear strength while the engine idles during the flush cycle. High-load friction points like camshaft lobes and hydraulic lifters require high oil film strength to prevent wear. Running an engine with solvent-diluted oil, even at idle speed, can score precision camshaft surfaces and permanently damage mechanical lifters. Many drivers confuse aggressive chemical flush treatments with modern high-detergent synthetic engine oils. Fully synthetic oils contain balanced dispersant packages designed to clean engine deposits slowly and safely over thousands of miles. Instead of breaking off large dangerous chunks, high-detergent oils suspend microscopic carbon particles directly in liquid form. These microscopic particles pass safely through oil galleries and get trapped harmlessly inside the standard oil filter element. If you own a high-mileage vehicle with unknown maintenance history, there is a far safer cleaning methodology you should follow. Instead of using a 10-minute solvent flush, perform 2 or 3 short-interval oil changes every 1,500 miles using quality synthetic oil. This gradual approach slowly dissolves light varnish without overwhelming the oil pickup tube mesh or stripping away supportive seal sludge. You achieve a clean internal engine without risking sudden pressure loss or massive leaks. Before ever attempting any internal engine cleaning on an older car, you should inspect the condition under your valve cover. Removing the oil filler cap or valve cover gives a clear view of the upper valve train environment. If you see heavy, crusty black buildup or thick gel deposits, a chemical flush is almost guaranteed to cause catastrophic damage. In those high-risk scenarios, physical mechanical cleaning during a teardown is the only safe path forward. Chemical engine flush solvents are powerful tools, but they are designed for mild varnish in well-maintained engines, not severely neglected high-mileage motors. Using them on an old, sludged engine is a high-stakes gamble that often ends with ruined seals or spun rod bearings. By understanding how oil systems operate, you can protect your engine with patient oil changes rather than destructive quick fixes. Taking the slow route saves your oil pressure, preserves your seals, and keeps your car running for miles.